Right guys, I'm hoping by the end of this video you're going to have a better understanding of how the younique compensation plan works. It's really important for your business that you understand this plan inside out, back to front. You need to be able to set your own personal goals, and you need to know how you're going to achieve them. You also need to be able to teach your own team this compensation plan. And the one thing I'm hoping you're going to learn from this training is that the focus is very much on recruiting and training. You know, if you want to build your business and you want to get to black, you need to recruit and train. Saying that though, if you are joining the company to sell the products and you're not looking to build a team, that's absolutely fine. You can still increase your commission to 25% through your own personal sales. We've all got different goals, but hopefully from this video you'll learn what you need to do to hit your own personal goal. So you should be able to see there are two charts. The top chart is showing you the requirements to hit each colour status, and the bottom chart is showing you what commissions you'll earn from each status as you go along. And hopefully if you look across the top line you'll see there's 4 categories. So when you first join you'll be starting as an entry presenter, and you'll have white and then yellow. Then when you hit pink you'll become an exemplary presenter. When you hit green you'll become an elite presenter, and when you hit purple you'll become an exclusive presenter. So I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to talk you through each colour, what you need to do to hit that promotion, and what you're going to earn in commissions along the way. So first of all, when you see it saying dollars, please ignore that, because we're not talking in dollars, we're talking in points. So younique use a point system so that it's fair across the board. So if in the USA they need to sell 10 mascaras to get their promotion, then in the UK we need to sell 10 mascaras to get our promotion. So we're not talking dollars, we're talking points all the way through. So in order to hit white and to become a qualified presenter, you need to make 125 points from your PRS. So that's your personal retail sales. So that's any products that you sell alone, and your downlines aren't included in that. So 125 points, just to give you an example, is just under 5 mascaras. So as soon as you've sold 5 mascaras, you're going to become a qualified white presenter, and you have to do this every 3 months in order to remain a qualified presenter. So in a 3-month rolling period you need to sell the equivalent of 5 mascaras, and this includes your own purchases too. So if you buy yourself a mascara, that's going towards the 5 that you need to sell. And as a white status presenter, you're going to get 20% commission on every product that you sell, and you're going to get that commission the very same day that you sell the product. Okay, so then we move on to yellow. Now to hit yellow you can take as long as you need. So as long as you're selling enough products to hit 125 points every 3 months, you'll stay as a white presenter. As soon as you've sold 1,000 points worth of products, you're going to hit yellow. So if you do that in a week, you're going to hit yellow. If you do that in 6 months, you're going to hit yellow. It doesn't matter, you take as long as you need, but you need to make 1,000 points. So again, to give you an example, that's going to be 35 mascaras. Obviously the different products have different points value, but we all know how amazing the mascara is, so that's why I'm using the mascara as an example. So as soon as you've sold 35 mascaras, and even if that's 5 1 month, 5 the next, 5 the next, and it takes you 7 months, you're going to hit yellow. And once you hit yellow, you're then going to get an increase in your commissions. So you will then start to get 25% commission on every product that you sell. So you're going to increase yourself by 5%. Okay, so when we look at pink, this is where the team building comes into play. You're not going to be able to hit pink until you start building your team. You need at least one presenter underneath you in order to hit pink, and they need to be qualified. So that presenter that you sponsor needs to have qualified to become white. So like we said before, they need to have sold 125 points worth of products to become qualified underneath you. Once you've got that presenter, you can then become pink as long as you hit the sales requirements. So in personal retail sales, you need 250 points. So as an example, that's 9 mascaras. So you need to sell an average of 9 mascaras yourself. And then you also need to hit company sales. So company sales comes from every single person underneath you in your team. So if you have 1 person underneath you, 5 people underneath you, 10 people underneath you, and no matter what status they are, they're all part of your company. So all of your sales added together needs to hit 2,000 points. And that, you're now looking at around 69 mascaras. So you need your whole company to sell 69 mascaras, and 9 of those needs to come from yourself, and you need 1 qualified presenter in order to hit pink. Now the exciting thing about hitting pink is you're now going to start to earn commission off your downlines. So that's going to mean more money, bigger income, and obviously the more downlines you've got, the bigger your team is, the more money you're going to earn. So before I start explaining how the commissions work, I just want to explain a little bit about how the downlines come into play. So when we look at our downlines and when we look at our commissions, we're going to talk about circle sales, we're going to talk about generations, and we're going to talk about company sales. And it can all seem a little bit confusing, but once you know what it is that you're looking at, I promise you it's dead simple. So all your downlines are going to be part of your circle until they hit green. So once they hit green and they become an elite presenter, they're not going to be part of your circle anymore. They're going to break away and they're going to become a generation of their own. So you're still going to earn commission off them, but it's all going to be broken up into separate pieces. So because you're going to have commission on your own sales, you're going to have commission on your circle sales, and then you're also going to have commission off your generation sales. So as long as the people underneath you are white, yellow, pink or blue, they are your circle sales. As soon as they hit green, then them and anybody underneath them will become your generation. So it sounds complicated, but I promise you it isn't. So when you're on pink, you're going to start earning from your circle sales. So anybody underneath you that's white, yellow, pink or blue, they're part of your circle, and you're going to earn 3% commission on their sales. So if you have 4 downlines and they're all white, yellow, pink or blue, you're going to earn 3% commission off all of those 4 downline sales. Now I really hope I haven't scared you straight off talking about generations and circles and company sales, because I promise you it is dead simple, and as we go through the other colours, hopefully it'll all become a little bit clearer as to what I'm talking about. So the next promotion you're going to be looking at is blue, and to hit blue you still only need 250 points from your own personal retail sales. So you still only need to sell the average of 9 mascaras to hit blue. but the difference is you need to continue to build your team. Instead of one qualified presenter, you now need to have sponsored 2. So you need to have sponsored at least 2 people underneath you, and they need to be making sales. You also need an increase on your company sales. So your company sales now need to double. So you now need 4,000 points. Talking of mascaras, you're looking at 138. So between you and any downlines that you've got, whether you've got 2, 3 or 4, all of you put together need to make 4,000 points, and you personally need to have made 250 of those points. Now when you hit blue, your commissions are going to change again. You're still going to be on 25% of your own sale commissions, but the percent that you get from your downlines is going to increase from 3% to 4%. So that's going to be your reward for hitting blue. You're going to have an extra downline, so you're going to be making more commissions anyway, but instead of 3%, you're going to be getting 4%. Okay, so this is where it gets really exciting. When you hit green, you're going to become an elite presenter, and this is where your generations are all going to come into play. Now you don't need to have a generation underneath you to hit green, but if you do, you're going to start earning from them. Now obviously we're all going into this business at the same time, so it's a good possibility that one of your downlines is going to hit green at the same time as you, or even before, and that's absolutely fine, it doesn't matter, but this will just show you what it's going to look like in commission. So in order to become a green presenter, you're going to need to make 500 points on your personal sales. So as an example, you're looking at 18 mascaras, so it's really not a lot. To hit promotions for your personal retail sales, it's really not hard to do. The bit that makes it more difficult is the building the team, and that's where you really need to focus a lot of your energy to get your promotions. So to hit green, you're now going to need 3 qualified presenters, so you're going to need to sponsor 3 people, and they're all going to be needing to hit sales. For your company sales, you're going to need 10,000 points, so you're looking at just short of 350 mascaras. So they can come from anybody in your downline, it doesn't matter what status they are. Even if they've hit green and they've become their own generation and they've broken away from your circle sales, their sales still count towards your company sales. Your company sales comes from anybody underneath you, no matter what status they are. So everybody underneath you put together needs to make 10,000 points, and only 500 of those need to come from you personally. You also need 2,000 of those points to come from your circle sales. So if one of your downlines has hit green and they've become their own generation, they will count towards your company sales, but everybody else still needs to be making sales. So if you look at the picture that's in front, you've got 2 downlines who haven't yet hit green. So between those downlines, they need to get 2,000 points. The green downline, who's your first generation, they can contribute 8,000 points, that's fine, as long as your circle sales are contributing 2,000 of those points. So what's exciting is you're now going to earn 30% commission on your own sales. And on top of that, on your downline sales, this is now going to increase again. You're now going to get 5% commission on your downline sales instead of 4%. So from beginning to green, you've gone from 20% commission on your own sales to 30%, and you've gone from 3% commission on your downlines to 5%. So the money is really going to start building now. And as your team builds, your sales are going to build too. Now if you look where your generation is, where your downlines turned green and they've broken away, you're now going to get 3% commission off their sales. So you might be thinking, oh, hang on a minute, I don't want my downline to hit green, because then the commission's going to drop from 5% to 3%. But yes, you really do want your downlines to hit green, because first of all, you need some generations in order to get your next promotion, which we'll come on to in a minute. But on top of that, watch what happens when your generations build their team, and they build on their team, and they build on their team. You'll see from the charts as we move forward through the video that that's really what you're aiming for. So moving on to orange. In order to hit the orange promotion, you're going to need 500 points from your personal retail sales. So you're going to need to sell an average of 18 mascaras. You're also going to need 3 qualified presenters. So you need at least 3 downlines that you've sponsored who are making sales. But you also need 1 generation. So you now need at least 1 downline underneath you to hit green themselves. So this is where the training comes into play. You can't just recruit a load of people and then sit back and earn commission off all their sales. You've got to put the work in. You've got to train them. You've got to teach them everything you know and motivate them. You need your downlines to be hitting their promotions too. And to hit orange, you need at least 1 downline to have hit green, and they become your first generation. So you now need 20,000 points from your company sales. So this is again every single downline underneath you, and their downlines, and it doesn't matter what status they are. Every single person in your team, in your company, between them needs to make 20,000 points. But 500 of those points need to come from you personally, and 4,000 of those points need to come from your circle sales. So basically what that's saying is your first generation can't do all the work. You can't train somebody and then reap all the rewards from their hard work. You need to keep recruiting, you need to keep training your other downlines. So your downlines who are white, yellow, pink, blue, they need to get 4,000 points between them towards your company sales. So I really hope that makes sense. Now, what do you get when you're an orange presenter? You're still going to get 30% off your own sales. You're still going to get 5% off your circle sales, and you're still going to get 3% off your first generation sales. The difference is when you're an orange presenter is when your first generation has a downline who turns green themselves, they become your second generation. So I'm hoping the diagram is kind of explaining it for me, because it's quite hard to put it into words. But when somebody underneath you becomes green, they become your first generation. And when somebody underneath them turns green, they become your second generation. So on your second generation, you're going to get 4% commission. So you start getting 5% commission, then when they turn green it drops to 3%, but then when one of their downlines hits green, it's going to go back up to 4%. So I'm hoping what you're going to see from it is that training your team to train their team to train their team is going to benefit you. Okay, so now we're moving on to purple. You'll probably hear some background noise now because my gorgeous boy has decided to wake up from his nap, and I'm sure he's going to want his input into this training video. So I do apologise for the background noise. Right, now don't get put off by the diagram. This is just an example of what your company could possibly look like. when you hit purple. Doesn't mean it will do, it's just an idea to show you the different categories, if you like, and the different percentages and commissions that you're going to get. So in order to hit purple, the key thing I want you to pick up on is, again, you only need 500 points in personal retail sales. So you still only need to sell 18 mascaras in 1 month to hit purple, which I think is amazing. So the key here, again, is that you have got to be training, you've got to be building your team, because you're really going to rely on your team to get your promotions, and they're going to rely on you for training and support. So you're now going to need 4 qualified presenters underneath you. So you need to have sponsored 4 people, and they all need to be making sales. But you now need 2 first generation elites. So you don't just need the 1, you need the 2. So as an example, if you look at the diagram, if one of your downlines recruits somebody or sponsors somebody and they hit green, they're going to become your first generation, because there's nobody above them apart from you that's green or above. So even if a downline of a downline of a downline hits green, they're going to become your first generation. So you now need 2 downlines in your company to have hit green and to have broken away from your circle sales and become generations of their own. Now in company sales, you're going to need 40,000 points. As an example, you're looking at over 1,300 mascaras. So that might sound like a crazy amount, but I promise you it's so achievable. You're going to have so many people in your team at this point that when you divide those points up between them, it really is achievable. Now you're going to need 6,000 of those points to come from your circle sales. So you can't let all your green downlines make all the sales. You've got to be motivating the whole team. Now your commissions are all going to stay the same when you're purple. So you're still going to get 30% off your own sales. You're going to get 3% off your first generation, and you're going to get 4% off your second generation. But on your circle sales, the percent is going to go up from 5% to 6%. So everybody underneath you who's white, yellow, pink or blue, you're going to now get 6% commission off all their sales. And now we come on to the one everyone's waiting for. We're now on black. So what do you need to do to hit black? Okay, so your personal retail sales still stays the same. You still only need 500 points to hit black. You still need 4 qualified presenters underneath you. You need to have sponsored 4 people and they need to be making sales. But you now need 4 first generation elites. So you need 4 of your downlines to have hit green. So if you look at the diagram, they don't have to be your direct downlines that hit green. They can be 4, 5, 6 legs down, it doesn't matter. As long as there's nobody above them apart from you that's green or above, then they become your first generation. So you now need 4 first generations. For company sales, you need 80,000 points. So you're looking at nearly 3,000 mascaras being sold in 1 month from your company, from your team. Again, that's achievable. Your team will be so big by now, if you divide the sales up, it's achievable. 10,000 of those points, so nearly 350 mascaras, they need to come from your circle sales. So it's fine if your first generation sells 80,000 points, but if they do, you'd need 90,000 points, because your circle sales need to have made at least 10,000 points, and then you're going to hit black. So what does commission look like when you hit black? So you're still getting 30% commission on all your personal sales. You're getting 6% commission off your circle sales. You're still getting 3% commission off all your first generations. You're getting 4% commission off your second generations. And then when you start introducing your third generations, it's going up to 5%. Now that's pretty much unheard of with regards to direct selling companies. It's very rare to see 5% when you hit your third generation. So if somebody turns green and one of their downlines hits green, and then that person's downline hits green, they become your third generation, and you're going to get 5% off their sales and all of their downline sales. And that's where you want your company to be. So you want to recruit, you want to train them up to green, you want them to recruit, you want them to train to green, you want them to recruit, and so on. It does stop at your third generation. So if your third generation downline hits green, then they're going to break away, and you're no longer going to earn commission off that person. It's going to go 3 generations deep. With regards to your circle sales, that's just going to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. So even if that's 20 legs deep, if none of them hit green, they're going to remain your circle sales, and it's going to keep going, and you're going to continue to earn 6% off all of those downlines. So this just shows you the potential is so huge. You really can earn big money with younique, but you're not going to get there if you just focus on sales. You need to focus on recruiting, you need to focus on training and motivating all the people underneath you to do the same. So I just wanted to finish by going back to the original picture that I showed you. This is the compensation plan drawn up into a chart. Now I'm hoping, now we've been through it all step by step, it'll be a lot clearer as to what it is that you're actually looking at. So when you look down the left hand column and you've got company sales, circle sales, generation sales, and then when you look at the bottom chart and you've got circle, first generation, second generation, I'm hoping now that you'll understand what all of those actually mean. And obviously as you go across each colour, the top chart is showing you what it is that you need to hit that colour, and then the bottom chart is showing you what you're going to get in royalties, in commission, when you hit that colour. If there's anything that you don't understand, whether you're part of my team or not, please feel free to send me a message and I'll go through it with you for as long as it takes until you get it. It's so important that you understand how this chart works, because otherwise you're going to be going into it blind. You're not going to know what it is that you're working towards. So like I say, please feel free to send me a message, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you fully understand how it all works. So I hope this has helped you guys. Thank you.